So I've always had a massive interest in the medieval era. I grew up in an area of North Wales where there was castles everywhere. But additionally, I used to do Eastern martial arts. I used to do Aikido and Taekwondo, and I saw a bunch of people fighting with swords and shields on the seafront one day when I was at uni, and thought, given Eastern martial arts a try, let's see what Western martial arts give.
Victoire!
I'm now buying silly stuff all the time and buying new weapons and new armour, and as much as I make the jokes, I don't regret it at all. It's incredibly fun. The community you meet through this society, through this hobby, is phenomenal. You meet some of the best friends you'll ever meet.
I've been interested in history since a very young age. It started with sort of these big white encyclopedia books about sort of like historical armour and siege techniques and castles. And then as I grew older, it became an interest in contact sport. I remember at university, I came down from one of the rooms and saw a load of people in the cafe wearing armour, lounging about with shields and stuff, and just that looks interesting. I never looked back. Well, the physical stunts that we trained for are to hit each other and receive blows safely. Also, the acting side of it. It is how to take wounds and die theatrically in a safe manner. So why we train is because all of the skills related to sort of like the medieval combat we do, they're perishable. So for safety's sake, and because it's fun, it's what we like to do. Every Sunday we come down here and we spend a few hours beating each other silly with blunt weapons. Same rules, ready to rattle. Right, people jumping into their very first session, their very first taste of reenactment, what we do is we start off by just addressing the safety basics and getting them comfortable with sort of like the terminology, and then get them to jump straight in. We start off with what we refer to as wasters, just basically blunt sticks, get them used to fighting each other. It's a very jarring thing for people who have not actively tried to hit each other before, to jump straight into trying to do violence against other people. So it's starting them on that, getting them comfortable with the safety, comfortable with the terminology, and then ease them into the sort of games and combats we've been doing so far.
It's the bit that everyone comes to see. It's the flashy thing that draws people in.
We do a variety of shows across the year that range from the Battle of Evesham that took place in 1265 all the way back to the Battle of Hastings that took place in 1066. So we just train mainly just to keep our general combat skills sharp and again to have fun.
Combat is a small part of reenactment. Usually at a given show there'll be 1 or 2 fights a day, usually last anywhere from half an hour to an hour. Other members of the society will prioritise the other aspects of medieval history, from cooking and manufacturing trades to why represent a trade or a specific part of medieval society.
My name is Tara and I've been reenacting as a medieval peasant woman since 2022. I got into it because of my family, predominantly my son in 2018 wanted to do some combat fighting as part of his D.A.V. One day I saw an advert for come and try reenactment fighting, and so I took him down one Sunday afternoon and it progressed from there. And so they would do their training, they would go to shows. However, they needed somebody to sew and make things. And so I can sew and I can make things, so I got involved that way. I think the phrase is, if you can't beat them, you join them. So it's pretty much a family thing to do and to work towards. And the group of people that we're with, the society, become like another family as well, looking after each other.
Yeah, I got into reenactment through initially my grandparents because I used to go to a lot of events in where they were in Salisbury. And then I went to university and I went to Freshers' Fair and there was
Yeah.
a large ginger man with a shield who walked up to me and went, "Would you like to hit things?" And I was like, "Sure, why not?" When we're all lined up to walk onto the field, and there's just armor and weapons and just the energy in that moment is just like, yeah, this is why I do this. This is fun. And just
Yeah.
the amount of people that you meet that are also interested in talking to you because you have a shared common interest.
So mine was, yeah, the love of history, but also when my wife died, I sort of shut myself away and I realised I needed to get out of the house and meet people. And then it just appeared on my Facebook, come and have a trial session. And I put it off and put it off and then went, no, I'm going to go and do it. Went and did it over a year ago now. And it's getting out, you're talking to so many different people, not just the reenactors themselves, but the members of the public as well, that you get to the stage where you're happy to talk and you're not just shying away. You want to tell people what you're doing, why you're wearing what you're wearing.
Talking to the public can be terrifying.
Mm.
Yeah, like, you'll be talking to one person, and you look at what you're doing, and then you'll look back at that person and realize there's like 20 people because you've been talking in a somewhat authoritarian voice, and they've all kind of merged on your location. And just having the confidence to just keep on talking and just be comfortable with the crowd.
It's just an absolute perfect avenue for someone that's passionate about history to experience it in all the dimensions. Go to the sites, try out the stuff. It's a real practical way of immersing yourself in a subject that you're really interested in. And you always walk away from every event completely exhausted, but having had an absolute great time. Rain or shine, you're going to walk away with some good stories.
Do you want some of the smaller bits?
Yeah, I was just going to say.
So do you remember that first big show that we did?
Yes, Kenilworth. It was very busy, quite hot.
300-400 reenactors?
So massive, huge lines on either side for the fighting, and then members of the public everywhere.
Yeah, it was like the zoo scenario, wasn't it?
Yeah, they were watching us.
And did you remember there was that guy who came up with a baby? Do you remember that?
Yeah, we were on guard duty next to the gate.
Yes, exactly. And this guy came up and said, "Hold that."
Oh, my most precious thing in the world. And I'm glad to give it to you because you've had kids, and
Well, yes. All I can remember was noisy end up. I took a few photos and then it was like,
yeah.
there you go. Thank
Please
you.
take it back. I don't know what to do.
So pottage is it's pearl barley boiled. It takes about 4 hours to boil it, and it was the main diet in the medieval era because we didn't have. There was no potatoes, there was no tomatoes, so we used grain, oats, pearl barley, sometimes lentil type things. Usually you had a bit of pottage left over from the day before that you would add to the next day's meal, and so it looks quite disgusting. There's plenty of herbs in it, but there are some spices, but I haven't put any spices in it. It's quite bland compared to today's taste buds.
This knife isn't as sharp as it could be.
Yeah, very good at cutting bench.
remember the first time you held a sword?
How old was that? 14?
14, yeah.
Every 14-year-old wants to fight.
Remember Danny, our group leader?
Yeah.
He basically had chainmail and sword, and I was like, yeah, that's where we're going.
Do you want to fight? Yes, I do. And then here we are 7 years later, still doing the same thing.
Still doing the thing,
So,
yeah.
You learn a lot over the time, and you kind of, the more you train, the more you get to hone your skills.
No major injuries?
No, actually, none. Clearly we know what we're doing.
Or you're not doing it right?
Or we're cowardly, yeah. Either one.
Not going in hard enough.
Our hobby is scattered around the house really. There's mail work going on in the conservatory. Sometimes there's sewing going on. Any of us, so usually me, but Mark does a bit of sewing. I allowed the swords up on the fireplace. We redecorated the lounge and Mark didn't think I would say yes, and Alex decided he would ask me and I said yes. So it's just a focal point, isn't it?
I can hear sizzling and boiling.
So I'm just going to put the sausages on. The pottage is ready and there's some chicken that's cooked. So I'll just put a few sausages on. I won't put them all on.
I think it was quite important as a 14-year-old to have like something to do, especially with your dad, and then mum as well joined after a bit. But you know, for a lot of 14-year-olds, they might not have something, or you know, late teenage young men, they might not have something that they can do with their father, or a weekly thing that can keep them quite grounded.
It was quite a privilege for me, for my 16, 17-year-old son wanting to spend time with me, which, you know, that was cool. We went to Wales for 2 weekends, didn't we, just going to castles, which again was just a great time for the two of us, wasn't it? Any burnt bits?
Not yet, but I haven't gone down the
I
bottom.
can see a lot of ash in it.
Yeah. See how
Carbon
it's got a
rich
bit of a
meal.
skim on the top.
Do you want any bread with that?
I'll mop it up with bread.
Mop.
There you go. Pottage,
After a
chicken,
hard day's fighting.
sausage.
Days fighting, I'll have the same. It's right.
Very nice. I think the veg is very well chopped.
Good.
Try the honey as well, actually.
Yeah, honey will make it sweet. Get to use my new mug.
It would have been better with a bit of wine.
Or ale.